Greetings and welcome. So this video is going to cover narrative essays. It's sort of a brief overview, if you will. Have you ever had a moment in your life that completely changed the way you see the world? So it could have been a simple interaction with somebody. It could have been somewhere you went. That's exactly what a narrative essay is about, taking an experience and turning it into story with meaning. So we're talking about story here. Even though it's your personal story, it's still story. So in this video, we're breaking down how to write a narrative essay into some simple steps. You'll learn what it is, kind of why it matters, and the simple steps you can follow to write one that's powerful and memorable. So what is a narrative essay? Well, a narrative essay is a personal story told with purpose. It's your personal story. It's about you. Unlike a research paper or an argumentative essay, it's written in the first person and focuses on your own experience, which is wonderful. The goal isn't just to retell what happened, it's to show the reader why it mattered. So if you think about reading a novel or something like that, you're really putting in those sensory pieces of information. For example, I remember sitting on my grandmother's porch and she taught me my first ABCs. So we would sit on we'd sit on the porch and swing in the swing, and I could hear the creaking of the screen of the swing. I could hear animals in the background. Um, I heard chickens clucking and cows mooing because they had a farm. And I would hear the sweet melodic sound of my grandmother's voice helping me learn those ABCs. So it's a very vivid core memory for me. And it's something that taught me about myself and my strengths. It was very simple. But once I learned them, I was really young and I felt accomplished. So it was something that did impact my life. So don't retell. You actually want to add in some information to help people see it. Sort of like if you're reading a book and you see it pass before your eyes if you're an avid reader. Or think about the sensory information that you see in a short video that you might watch. So the big thing that students struggle with sometimes is choosing a meaningful topic. And usually when I am teaching, if you're in my class, I usually try to provide some topic options or something to help you out. But if you're not, really sit down and do some brainstorming, because the best essays come from moments that taught you something. Whether it's success, maybe a mistake you even made, an ordinary event that carried an important lesson. Any of those things can serve as a very meaningful topic. So try not to think too hard about it. Just think about turning points in your life or major events in your life that happened that changed the way you thought about something or changed the way you thought about yourself or the way that you felt. So, like any good story, a narrative essay has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so what you're seeing here is the five elements of a story. So if you were going to go read a book, these would be the five basic elements of the story. And I want to include this so you could see kind of what that looks like. Um, the arc there, it goes from introduction, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. And of course, if you think of films or you think of things that you've watched, um, all of them have this. Now, sometimes they're not in this exact order or in this exact way, in the way they occur in a story, but they are present. So you'll really want to kind of think about and brainstorm like, how did this situation start? If you're going to talk about a situation that maybe changed something for you, when did it start getting more exciting? So if you're watching a movie, when did the pressure get on? When did action start? When did you start thinking about it? What happened that caused the change for you when you reflect on it and decide, how did this impact my life? So you're really going to follow kind of that five elements of story where it has a beginning, a middle, and end, a hook, a climax, a reflection. So, and you don't always start a story at the beginning, remember? So you could start in present day and actually go backwards with thought. You can do it all kinds of different ways. And I'll try to make some of my article links down here below the video for you to help you out with some of that. So if we look at the next one, you really do a narrative unless someone tells you otherwise, like if you're in a class and the instructor's like, nope, don't use I. A narrative, this type of narrative, a personal narrative, should use I because you're talking about your feelings and thoughts. It makes your writing more personal and authentic. You connect with the reader better when they're allowed to follow along with your eye, listen to you tell your personal story instead of like third person, like Jackie went to the store, or Jackie did this. It's more like I went, I saw, I felt. So share your feelings and thoughts. And sometimes those thoughts might be sad, some might be sort of neutral, displeased maybe, and some can be very happy and excited and joyful, so you can have a lot of different feelings um, that you incorporate into your story, which is wonderful. It brings it alive, right? Now, I do, in at least in my classes, and it depends on how, if you're writing a novel, if you're just writing, a personal essay, and you're just listening to this video, then it's not quite the same. But I do ask students in my classes not to write something so personal that you wouldn't want to share it with others, because we do share things in our classes. So just keep that in mind as you're writing something. If you are writing it as part of a group, you want to tell the story and be authentic and include your sensory information, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. But you also want to be mindful and protect some of your information as well. So it's sort of a straddle there when you're sharing it with other people. One of the things that you do want to do in let me move that up a little bit, in a story that you're going to write is use vivid details. Okay, these are the five senses, and this is old school, go back to elementary school, but it's so important in a story to really bring it alive. So you want to be able to describe things like what color were they, what shape were they. You can use metaphors and similes if you remember what those are. Hearing, something that you hear, like what did the sounds sound like? What are the voices in there? You might have smelled something, like when I was on my porch with my grandmother, I would smell pie cooking, or food cooking, or we had a smokehouse, which you may not know that depending on your age, but a smokehouse is where they would smoke meat, and you could smell sort of the stuff from there. Sometimes it just depended. So smells are important. Those odors and fragrances that are part of your story. And this particular spelling of odors is not the one we probably use in our class, but it's on this this graphic. So touch, hands and skin, shapes and textures. What shape is it? What texture? How would it feel if you touched it, kind of thing, like sandpaper? Would it be soft and smooth? Taste is an important one. So, whatever you can taste, like flavors in your food. Sometimes we can smell things in the air, that sort of, you can say the air tastes like this and things like that. So sometimes you can even have that in there. So you don't want to just tell the reader what happened, show them. Instead of saying, I was nervous, you describe your shaking hands and your racing heartbeat. Sensory details bring your story to life, right? Okay, the next slide here. Step 5 is reflect. So you are going to reflect on the meaning of your story. So first you tell it, and then you have to reflect on it. Because every narrative essay needs reflection. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this experience? How did it change me? The reflection is what really gives your story impact to the reader. And it also helps you when you're reflecting on something that you're writing about. So your story matters, right? A narrative essay is more than just a memory. It's your chance to connect with readers and share a piece of your life in a meaningful way. Start with a topic that matters to you, use vivid details, and don't forget to show what the experience taught you. That's how you're going to write the narrative essay. And also, I just want to put a little plug in here for the channel. Here's some sources used for this. Just for the steps, there are several articles in Education Universe, which if you're in my class, they're probably linked in your class, and I will include some of those below. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful, excellent day, and write, write, write.